Welcome to Make Your Money Matter. I'm your host, Brad Barrett. I'm also a managing director and partner here at One Capital Management. And on today's show, I want to talk to you about the 6 sins of investing. But before we do, smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single episode. All right, let's get into it. You know, it's been said by Benjamin Graham, for those of you who know him, is widely known as the father of economics, that the investor's chief problem and even his worst enemy is likely to be himself. And so with that, I thought I'd take my nearly 2 decades of being a financial advisor and walk through some things I want you to avoid. And I think we all get caught up into. Number 1 is holding cash in a retirement account. Look, investment accounts, just the name of them, if you think about it, are for what? Investing. They're investment accounts. So after you contribute cash into an investment account, you want to make sure you're investing that money. Find counsel, find an advisor, work with someone to make sure that you look at the entirety of your portfolio and the investment accounts, again, or the retirement accounts specifically, the long-term money, if you will. We really should be looking at investments. Again, speak with your advisor about that. Number 2, picking individual stocks. Again, I share this so often that if you look at just trading individual stocks as maybe opposed to buying index funds or ETFs, right? It introduces some risk, all right? Now, there's human error and there, is likely some ability to underperform expectations. So again, not that individual stocks are bad. You want to be careful when you do it and how you fundamentally look at these companies. It can become kind of a trap for us thinking like, if you're investing in the basket or an ETF or an index, that you're not doing the right things. And I would just share this. Make sure you put it in context with your plan, because finding an ETF or an index fund might be the play for you rather than getting 1 or 2 or 3 individual securities. Sin number 3 actually backs up right on number 2, chasing past performance. Look, investing more in what is recently done well is kind of a recipe for missing out on what is maybe about to do well. I mean, you've likely seen this before in our industry of financial services, that the past performance doesn't reflect future gains. It's one reason why here at One Capital Management at our firm, as well as on our show, the Make Your Money Matter show, we don't necessarily talk about performance, because here's the reason. If you do, you're just as good as you were yesterday. So you have to perform every day and outbeat whatever it is you're talking about. Because rather, you should be looking and investing into chasing fundamentals and future outcomes within your holdings. Again, whether that's on individual stocks or you're looking at ETFs or index funds, it still has fundamental view to make sure you don't fall into that sin number 3. All right, number 4, timing the market. This is a big sin here, all right? Likely you've heard me on this show, whether you're watching or listening, you've heard me say this many times, but investing is not necessarily about timing the market, but time in the market. I say that often. Veronica, my wife, thinks literally it's gonna be on my headstone. I say it so much, but I believe in it. Jumping in and out of the market to avoid a crash or even changing strategies based on what the market is doing is likely, if you look at historical data, gonna actually cost you money. And I've shared this a lot, especially in a year like last year, 2022. It's what we don't do that almost matters more than what we do when it comes to your investing. I think a lot of us, if we're candid with ourselves, we tend to get myopic when it comes to volatility in years like that. And the reality is, you always hear me say that discipline and discernment is what really matters when it comes to your investments. So I think it's really important when you look at sin number 4 is making sure you don't try to time the market. Number 5 is thinking short term. Investing in general, everyone, is about long term. Trying to get rich quick is really a good way to honestly stay broke. I mean, if you want to ask me, it's one of those things when you're gonna get burned at some point if you try to chase these performances a couple sins ago, and you also try to, stay too short term. Be careful, be wise, seek advice and counsel. And when you think short term, like in my world, an advisor, we break up short term, mid-term, long term. To me, it's anything south of 2 years would be considered short term. This is kind of like your emergency fund money, some travel coming up, right? Anything between 2 and 20 years, you can maybe consider middle term, and then 20 years beyond that is likely long term. Now, obviously that's subjective. You can move those time periods around, but you want to be careful about when you think about investing. You don't want to try to get rich tomorrow, okay? Investing is a discipline. It's falling in love with the process. It's not an emotion. So making sure you stay true to your discipline. And if you don't have that, make sure you set the course with your goals and objectives you're trying to hit. If you think about investing, emotions are like children. You don't want them driving the car, but you don't want them in the trunk either. They need to be around, but make sure you're logical about what you're doing with your assets. All right, number 6 is not investing continuously. And what I mean by that is something called dollar cost averaging. It's important that no matter what stage you're in, or ages and stages, I call it, of my watchers, viewers here, or clients even listening, is making sure wherever you are, if you're able to contribute right now, do it often, do it continuously, and do it with a disciplined approach. Like I said before, falling in love with the process. Because of all the sins of the investing, I think this is a big one. Let me just be clear. This is probably the most deadly. You won't end up with anything if you don't invest continuously and with a disciplined approach. Be careful to also understand the difference between saving and investing. Okay, there's a big difference there. So making sure you talk with your advisor about that, making sure you understand how it works in your financial plan and your overall wealth forecast matters. I hope you enjoyed the show today. If you did, make sure to subscribe, make sure you get all of our content, and always remember to make your money matter.